The legendary James Bond actor Pierce Brosnan has a history of tragic losses and intense drama that hides behind his charming smile and dazzling good looks. A tragic personal tragedy was developing in the background as he skyrocketed to stardom in the 90s with his Bond movie breaking box office records. Even while his greatest achievements shone brightly, his worst moments, such as the tragic destiny that almost destroyed his world again, remained hidden from view. Everyone is wondering whether he would be able to endure the excruciating agony of saying goodbye once again. Pierce Brosnan's early years and professional highlights are worth exploring before we get into the tragic news regarding his wife's health. Pierce Brosnan's upbringing in Drogheda set the tone for a tragic existence that has persisted throughout his adulthood. He was the sole child of May and the carpenter Thomas Brosnan, and he came into this world on May 16, 1953. Brosnan had a tough and lonely upbringing when his father left him when he was a baby. His mother departed for London in search of work when he was just 4 years old, abandoning him. Philip and Kathleen Smith, Pierce Brosnan's maternal grandparents, reared him mostly in Navan County, Meath, beginning when he was 4 years old, after his father abandoned him when he was an infant. He has a deep affinity for the area and thinks of it as his hometown. The absence of Brosnan's father made his boyhood what he called fairly solitary as he reflected on it. He understood the difficulties his mother had as a single mother in the 1950s Ireland, a difficult time for Irish Catholic women. His mother had incredible strength and will in the face of adversity when she decided to become a nurse in England in the hopes of a better life. At a period when her upbringing was filled with uncertainty, she brought stability and connection by returning to see Brosnan many times a year. Just as the lingering naivete of youth was starting to wane, another unfortunate event occurred. After Philip and Kathleen Smith, Brosnan's loving grandparents, went away, he felt bereft and lonely. He was moved about from one relative's house to another, spending time with an aunt and then an uncle, as he had no permanent residence to call his own. However, he continued to feel unsure and transient until he was eventually assigned to live at a boarding home managed by the gentle Eileen. A spot of short solace it was. Pierce Brosnan was brought up in a Catholic household. He was an altar boy and a student at a De La Salle Brothers school in his hometown. His life, however, changed drastically when he was 11 years old. He left Ireland for Scotland on August 12, 1964, and was warmly welcomed into the Longniddry house of his mother and her new husband, William Carmichael. His future was about to be shaped by this fresh beginning. Carmichael, who would go on to have a profound impact on Brosnan's life, took him to watch Goldfinger when he was very young, exposing him to the exciting world of James Bond. After some time, Brosnan and his family relocated to London, where he resumed his education at Ark Putney Academy, formerly Eliot School in Putney, setting the stage for future experiences. William Carmichael accepted Pierce Brosnan into his family and encouraged his creative spirit, changing Pierce's life in profound ways. Sincerely appreciative, Brosnan attributes his awakening to William's guidance in finding his life's purpose. In spite of the difficulties he encountered as a child, Brosnan vowed never to let the pattern of abandonment that had defined his upbringing define him. He stated, "When I found acting, or when acting found me, it was a liberation. It was a stepping stone into another life, away from a life that I had, and acting was something I was good at, something that was appreciated. That was a great satisfaction in my life." Rather, he swore he would end his enslavement and become a doting dad himself. He dropped out of school at 16 years old to follow his creative dreams with an iron will. He decided to further his career as a commercial artist by enrolling in London's St. Martin's School of Art. Unfortunately, a sudden turn of events changed the trajectory of his life irrevocably, just as he was starting to make progress on his path. The Oval House Theatre Workshop rehearsal was a turning point in Pierce Brosnan's life. Pierce was enthralled by the Fire Eater's performance, which captivated the whole crowd. His heart was touched by the event, and he found himself captivated by the world of acting. His journey to Hollywood, the land of his dreams, began with this epiphany of his creative potential. One man's story is a tapestry of skill, sorrow, and change, from humble beginnings to Bond-like bravado. But will his biggest part ever be the one that makes up for his past? Pierce Brosnan took a 3-year course at London's renowned drama centre to hone his newfound talent. This was his formal debut as an actor, and he quickly found himself stepping onto the famous stages of London's West End. Acting, according to Brosnan, gave him freedom, the opportunity to shed his problems, and a fresh start as an artist. "Acting is freedom," he said, "a way to change one's life and become a new person." He aspired to harness the transformational potential of creativity via his profession and pave the way for a fresh future. Pierce Brosnan got his start in the industry as an acting assistant stage manager at the York Theatre Royal after finishing his studies at the Drama Centre in 1975. Playing the role of McCabe in the British premiere of The Red Devil Battery Sign, with Brosnan billed as Pierce Brosnan, a career-defining opportunity came just 6 months after his acting debut in Wait Until Dark. Williams is a renowned playwright. The audience went wild for his performance, and Williams even wrote Brosnan a touching telegram that read, "Thank God for you, my dear boy." A treasured memento from the legendary actor's life that the budding star will treasure. After landing a part in the highly acclaimed miniseries The Manions of America, which introduced Pierce Brosnan to an American audience, his career in television took off. Remington Steele, 1982-1987, in which he portrayed an endearing former prisoner detective with a penchant for vintage films, further established his position on television. He became an international superstar as his performance as the film's endearing and cultured protagonist enthralled audiences around the globe. Pierce Brosnan showed his flexibility in a variety of cinematic roles after the success of his television series Remington Steele, which he carried over to the big screen. Movies like The Thomas Crown Affair, a complex heist picture, and Dante's Peak, an exciting catastrophe film, both featured him. The Long Good Friday and The Mirror Cracked are only two of the works that left their imprint on him, further establishing his acting skills. Both of these parts set him up for future success as a romantic lead actor, and they solidified his position in the profession. Brosnan became the 6th actor to play the legendary spy James Bond in 1995 when he won the much-sought-after part. His roles in GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day won over viewers across the globe and solidified his position as a leading actor in Hollywood. Pierce Brosnan pursued a diverse career after his successful James Bond spell, playing a variety of roles. As an actor, Brosnan's versatility and skill shone through in his critically acclaimed The Matador, and his exploration of other genres in films like Laws of Attraction, an espionage thriller, and Mamma Mia, a musical drama. Acting has been his life's work, and he has never shied away from difficult parts that reveal unexpected sides to the human condition. He co-founded Irish Dreamtime, a Los Angeles-based production company, in 1996. The company has produced projects like The Nephew and The Thomas Crown Affair, further demonstrating his commitment to creative storytelling and artistic expression. He also appeared in the political thriller The Ghostwriter. Brosnan is well known not just for his acting roles, but also as a producer and an outspoken supporter of social causes. Brosnan has shown to be very versatile and dedicated to a number of social and environmental concerns, in addition to his outstanding on-screen presence. He is an artist, philanthropist, and environmentalist who has spoken up for causes like homosexual adoption, same-sex marriage, prohibition of assault weapons, and preservation of natural habitats. In 2004, the Sustainable Style Foundation honored him with the prestigious title of Best Dressed Environmentalist for his ceaseless efforts, recognizing his unfaltering commitment to both form and function. His enthusiasm, ingenuity, and compassion have inspired others via his numerous hobbies, proving that he is a real Renaissance man. Pierce Brosnan has received a plethora of honors and nominations for his outstanding performing. Notably for his exceptional performances in The Matador 2005 and Nancy Astor 1986, He was nominated for 2 Golden Globes and 1 Primetime Emmy Award. Brosnan received the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2002 from the Chicago International Film Festival for his significant contributions to the film business. Moreover, in 2016, he was honored with the European Film Academy's Outstanding European Achievement in World Cinema Award. Furthermore, his 2011 performance in The Ghostwriter was recognized with the IFTA Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Feature Film and the 2004 IFTA Outstanding Irish Contribution to Cinema Award, further establishing his reputation as an exceptionally gifted and successful actor. Actor Pierce Brosnan, who played the lead in the Western series The Son on AMC, said a tearful goodbye to his wife when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. In the moments leading up to their heartbreaking farewell, the British actor thought deeply about his late wife, the impact she had on his life and the lasting impression she left behind. His agency phoned in March 1992 with the news that would alter everything. Brosnan's picture, The Lawn Mower Man, was a financial success. Christopher, then 19, and Sean, then 8, were celebrating in the kitchen of their Malibu Hills home with the actor, who was 39 years old at the time. His daughter Charlotte, who is 20 years old and a student at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, would get the news from him later. Still giddy with joy, Brosnan rushed out to the garden to tell his 39-year-old wife Cassie the good news. Tragically, she died in December 1992 following a courageous fight with ovarian cancer, only 9 months after they had married. Pierce Brosnan has warm memories of his late wife Cassandra Harris and their time spent exchanging news at their hilltop house, which had a view of the Pacific Ocean. Speaking of his time spent lounging by the pool, he recalls how he used to sit on a chair under the trees and have conversations with her. "I'd say, darling, I know you're up there moving the pieces around." Throughout their 14-year marriage, Harris, an actress from Australia, served as Brosnan's motivation, pushing him to seek out new challenges and chances. She was so influential that in 1981 she even got him to leave England for America. With her health failing, Harris persuaded Brosnan to star in films such as The Lawn Mower Man and Live Wire, the latter of which he filmed in the autumn of 1991 just before her death. He confesses, "I did it because Cassie said it would be good to do," a move he attributes to her influence on his professional decisions. Pierce Brosnan knew their lives were in for a terrible twist when Cassandra Harris received the dreadful news that she had ovarian cancer, the same illness that had killed her mother. They overcame a tremendous obstacle as a team, juggling their personal and professional lives in the face of her aggressive cancer diagnosis and her sickness. An instinct told Brosnan they were in for a long, hard battle. The next 4 years were an ordeal for Cassandra's physical and mental health, as she had 8 surgeries, a 1.5 years of chemotherapy, and intense treatment. Even though Pierce's work schedule was greatly affected, he continued to be a strong supporter. Cassandra asked her physicians many of questions and was an integral part of her treatment choices, so she never gave up no matter how tough things got. "I may have been the quiet one, but I was always there for her." Pierce's steadfast commitment proved to be an unfaltering rock as Cassandra faced the mental and emotional obstacles brought on by her illness. Cassandra took solace in building a warm house for her family in Malibu, California, while her health deteriorated. In the midst of her bad health, she found satisfaction in decorating their new house, even if it was a laborious process. Unfortunately, the illness persisted in destroying her body, and by 1991, the family was faced with a grim reality as treatment choices were becoming more limited. Pierce had a tough time juggling his acting profession with his caregiving duties. His schedule would swing wildly between production dates and Cassandra's treatment appointments. He said that it was very taxing on his mental and physical health to balance his job priorities while making sure Cassandra never felt alone. Tragically, Cassandra's courageous fight against ovarian cancer ended on December 28, 1991. At 43 years old, she went peacefully with her husband Pierce Brosnan and their son Christopher at her side. A deep hole was created in her family's life by her tragic death. Now that he was a single parent, Pierce had the difficult responsibility of parenting his 3 children: Sean, his biological son from a previous relationship with Cassandra, and Christopher and Charlotte, whom he had adopted after their father's death. Pierce felt as if he had lost a piece of himself as a result of the anguish and sorrow caused by Cassandra's sickness and death. He had a hard time accepting the tragedy and the fact that their time together had been tragically short. Pierce was determined to make sure their children were happy and that Cassandra's memory would live on, no matter how hard things became. Actor, parent, and man Pierce Brosnan attributes much of his success to his late wife, Cassandra Harris. As far as he is concerned, Cassandra left an indelible mark on his life that he continues to feel to this day. He supposedly feels fortunate to have found someone like her and has said that she would always be a part of him. Charlotte, Pierce Brosnan's daughter and the woman he had just married, died at the young age of 41 in 2013 from the same aggressive ovarian cancer that had killed her mother 22 years before. This tragedy brought Pierce Brosnan's sadness full circle. The brutality of this illness has been painfully shown by this tragic reprise of loss, which has befallen the Brosnan family with the tragic deaths of 2 cherished ladies, Cassandra and Charlotte. During their 1980 wedding, Pierce Brosnan took in Cassandra's children, Christopher and Charlotte, from a previous relationship. Pierce selflessly adopted the siblings when their original father passed away. The siblings subsequently assumed Pierce's surname. Pierce and his children were devastated when Cassandra was tragically diagnosed with ovarian cancer shortly after. She passed away in December 1991. After his mother passed away, Christopher's life took a dark turn due to his addiction and legal troubles. His unresolved anguish and stress manifested itself painfully in his fight with drug dependency and a 3-month prison sentence in 1997 for driving under the influence. Pierce Brosnan spoke about his son Christopher's ongoing struggles with personal demons in an interview with the Rolling Stone. He said, "Christopher is still struggling to find his way. Although his path has been difficult, I remain hopeful and have faith that he will ultimately find his way out of the darkness. He has the capacity to overcome his challenges, but at this point, he lacks the willingness to do so." Meanwhile, Pierce broke the difficult decision to say goodbye to his son, but he acknowledged that it was a necessary step for their respective paths forward. Before deciding to bid farewell to his son, Pierce Brosnan thoroughly investigated all possible ways to save Chris from his tragic decline. Unfortunately, the actor's earlier attempts to encourage his son to pursue a career in filmmaking were unsuccessful. He had offered his son a position as an assistant director on prominent projects, including the James Bond films Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Is Not Enough, as well as The Thomas Crown Affair. Christopher Brosnan tried to get back on track with an appearance on the 2005 celebrity version of Love Island in 2005, but he still wasn't successful. Pierce Brosnan has experienced love and sacrifice throughout his fatherhood journey. Christopher, who still battles addiction and legal troubles, was his son, but he had to let him go despite his best attempts. The lessons of love and loss taught by Pierce's narrative demonstrate the strength of family ties and the importance of knowing when to hang on and when to let go. Even though he had to say farewell to loved ones, including his first wife and daughter, in the face of unfathomable sorrow. The fact that Pierce Brosnan was able to find comfort in his love for Keely Shea Smith, despite his crippling sadness, is evidence that love can conquer everything. Considering the great loss they both endured, do you believe Pierce Brosnan made the correct decision by cutting off contact with his son? Post a comment below to share your opinions. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. By the way, if you found this video entertaining, go ahead and click on the next video that appears.